Very recently, I realized that most entrepreneurs don't actually know how to even approach solving problems. So today I want to give you my 4-step process that I use to solve any problem that we have in the business. And this skill set, once you understand how to solve problems, you're going to be able to solve problems so much quicker. You're going to have much higher intentions, and it's going to be much easier for you to actually grow the business. So my name is Gurupma Singh. I'm the founder of GTM Academy. In the academy, we've got 50 plus entrepreneurs. In the academy overall, it's doing about over £2 million a year collectively. So I speak to founders every single day about, what they're doing, how they're growing the business, and the way that we approach solving problems has been refined over thousands and thousands of conversations. So I want to give that to you today so you can understand how we actually approach solving different problems within businesses. So the first thing is that this is not my model. I don't know who made it. I don't claim to own it. However, I learned about it, and I actually learned about it as a coach. When I went on to different coaching programs, I looked how the coaches teach. I came across this model called the GROW framework. And GROW is 4 letters, and it's actually an acronym. So GROW. Now the first letter, G, starts for goal. And this is so important. Most entrepreneurs try to solve problems without making themselves familiar with what the goal is. And it's so easy to go on those kind of long conversations, those rabbit holes, those tangents that don't actually take you towards where you want to be because you haven't clearly defined what it is that you actually want. So the first thing that we do, even when I'm having internal meetings with Adnan or I'm speaking to clients, the first thing that I always ask them is, what's the goal? And just to give you an example, we've been working on the academy a lot recently, and often we're having 3-4 hour conversations, sit downs about what it is that we need to do to actually grow things. And we sit, and the first thing that we always write out is, okay, what's the goal of today's conversation? What's the actual purpose behind it? Because without a purpose, without a direction, we're just confused and we're never going to be able to get anywhere. And even if we make progress, we're not going to know that we've made progress because in relation to the goal, if the goal doesn't exist, we have no indication of what's actually happened. So the first thing is we need to define a goal because it gives us a reference point of any progress that we actually do make. So that's the first thing. That's what G stands for. The next thing is R. And R stands for reality. Now, reality just means okay, what's actually going on right now? And this is another step that I think so many entrepreneurs overlook. They don't actually know how to understand or dissect reality. They don't understand how to look at their business, how to look at their world. And the reason why is because a lot of what they do is just based off gut feeling. Whereas realistically, if you want to understand reality, it can't just be, I think this thing or I feel like this thing. It's often got to be based off either really solid data or years and years of experience. And often when it comes to understanding reality, people don't actually look at it objectively. They have lots of different lenses, lots of different things that cloud their judgment. And even as a coach, one of the things that I have to often do is sit down with people and tell them you think that this is reality, but actually this is more like the reality. For example, if I just think about one of my clients that came on recently, she was a little bit confused about what path she should go down with her business. She was thinking about should she go something that's more fulfilling or should she go for something that's actually more profitable. And she said, I can't go for anything outside of I can't move towards the fulfillment side of things. I can't try and do something that's fulfilling. And the reason is because, those things aren't going to make any money. And it was just fundamentally wrong. It was you can absolutely have a fulfilling business that makes you a lot of money, but no one had questioned her reality. No one had questioned, is this actually possible for you? So often people struggle to solve problems because they have assumptions about reality which are actually completely wrong. And that's why it's so important to get around other people or have a coach or have someone that you can actually speak to about the problems that you're facing. This is why you have therapists, this is why you have doctors, this is why you have coaches, because often you can't actually understand what reality is. You might know what your goal is and you might be really clear what you want, but you don't even know what's going on in the world. And as a result, you can't move forward because you don't have point A, which you're moving from. You just have this could be a reality or this could be a reality over here. And often, if you're starting from a false sense of reality, you're starting from a false or an empty start. And what I mean by this is, let's say that you're under the assumption, let's say I wanted to lose weight. Let's say I'm under the assumption that, my exercise is completely fine. All I need to do is change my diet. But actually my diet might be fine. And it's my exercise that needs improvement. And if I start off and I start changing my diet and I'm changing my diet and I'm changing my diet and I'm not seeing any results, that might be like a false reality for me to start at. And then I get frustrated, then I get upset, and then I never move towards my goal. And it's all because I started under false pretenses. I had assumptions that hadn't actually been validated. So this is why it would be helpful for me to go to a personal trainer and say, hey, by the way, I want to lose weight. This is my diet. This is my exercise plan. This is what I'm doing within my life. What do you think? And actually validating what you think reality actually is. Because if you don't validate reality, then like I said, you can end up going down the wrong route entirely. And you can not even understand what your options are. And speaking of options, the third letter in GROW is O, and O stands for options. So what are the different things that you can do? So even let's just say, following on from this weight loss example, I could say one thing that I could do is I could change my diet. Another thing that I could do is take supplements. Another thing that I could do is change my exercise routine. I have different options that I could take. And just listing out the different options can help you to understand, well, how do I actually make a decision, right? Like, what is it that I should actually do? And often when it comes to creating options for yourself, the other thing that you want to do is create factors of, if you've got 3 different options, think about, okay, well, what are the different factors I want to consider? Here's a general factors rule that you can use. And for example, let me explain this in a little bit more detail so it's clear. When it comes to factors, if I've got 5 different options, let's say I'm thinking about how I can grow my business, I could be like, well, I could make customers stay for longer, I could increase the number of people that see my business, I could increase conversion throughout my funnel, I could increase conversion on my sales call process, I could increase my pricing, and all of these things are different ways I could grow my business, okay? Now, if you've got these different options, you might be thinking, well, which one should I actually go for, right? And how do we actually start to understand and process what that looks like? And that's actually the 4th letter, which is W. So that's way forward, right? So you've got goal, you've got reality, you've got options, and then W is way forward, okay? Now, when it comes to the way forward and actually deciding on what to do, the way that you can do that is by taking the different factors that you thought about in the option phase, and you actually apply it to something like a Pew matrix. So I want to give you an example. If you don't know what Pew matrix is it's essentially saying something along the lines of if I've got 3 factors, right? And the factors of me trying to grow the business is what's easy to do, what am I most confident in, and what is going to have the biggest impact, right? If I say that these are the 3 factors I'm going to have a look at, then I can just say okay, well, option A is really high for impact, but it's really low for my confidence and it's really difficult to do. I can start to score things in terms of what's actually the best option. And this, if you map it out, and I'll put up a picture of what a Pew matrix looks like, when you map something out, this is what it looks like. And it essentially allows you to figure out what option you should do from a non-biased point of view. You can objectively look and make decisions about what's the best option for you based on the different criteria that you've outlined. And you can also weight the criteria. So, you might think that ease is actually the most important thing. So, you put a much heavier weighting on ease. But essentially what it is that it allows you to take, whatever your goal is, you look at the reality of the situation, you look at the different options that you have, and then you look and you can decide on a way forward using the technique that I've just outlined for you. If you understand how to go through this process over and over and over again, and you actively try to solve problems using this, whenever you encounter a problem, your brain is going to be so much more switched on. It's going to go through the process much, much quicker than most people will because they're not used to making decisions. And if you can make decisions quicker than other people, you'll move faster than other people. Most of growth is on the other side of lots of difficult conversations. A lot of people don't even need to do more reps. A lot of people don't need to put in more hours. They actually just need to make decisions quicker. And if they could make decisions quicker, their business would grow much faster. But most people are scared to, and the reason why they're scared to is because they don't have a system that allows them to easily make decisions. So this is me giving you our full system. And hopefully it gives you the confidence to go and make decisions in your business that you've been avoiding for a little while. And if that sounds good, if that sounds helpful, then we make lots of other videos like this on our channel that can help you to grow the business faster. So if you've enjoyed this, thank you very much for watching. Go and check out one of these 2 videos and I'm sure you'll find a lot of value in them too.